Welcome back and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, y'all met initially on set, right? In the pilot? That's the first time that y'all met?
Oh, yeah. They were looking for a very different physical type for Hal and couldn't find it, and then said, just bring in the normal-sized actors.
What kind of weird-ass compliment is that?
Oh, that's me, normal size.
That's awesome.
And the first scene was the beginning of the show, which is me Lois shaving his body.
Awesome.
And so Bryan came on the set. We met him for the first time, and he was covered in yak hair. They glued yak hair all over his...
Super
and then they
hot.
had a privacy pouch.
Yes. Okay. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations.
Whatever you do,
I love it.
Do not set out the rumor that there was a big privacy pouch.
I love it.
Don't do that.
It's such a dude thing to do that. They come to the trailer and you're like, I'm gonna need a bigger one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need a bigger one.
Privacy pouch.
Hide more. No, but you did have a body double for that too, though, right?
Well,
when they
for the most part, it was me. 3 hours of gluing the yak hair on my body by 3 or 4 makeup technicians, and they were gluing it. I couldn't sit down because it would mat the whole thing. So I had to stand, and I'm standing there with just that little private. I mean
enormous.
that huge privacy part. And I was standing there, and it came time to shave, to actually see the razor go up the back and take off the hair. But I'm not overly hairy, so they had to go find someone who had a lot of hair.
On their back.
On their back.
Oh my God, what is this conversation like? Are you hairy? Can I see? How did they find?
Yes, kind of.
There are a lot of Teamsters on the show, right? And they thought that might be a good place to start.
Very burly men, manly men.
Annie, you have hairy.
But I loved it because that clipper, wouldn't go through the spirit gum. That was, so we needed real hair.
Okay.
And a real back.
And we found them.
Yeah.
But they brought in a bunch of guys. They took their T-shirts off, and it was just looking at their backs. And it was like, no, you. Gave him $100, and he went home that night with a ski slope down his back.
Oh my God.
His back looked like shag carpeting.
Okay, so how was it written actually to be a major character, which I didn't know? I found that out later. So how did you build out Hal, the character? How did you build it out?
Well, Hal
You looked at me like, who said it was not supposed to be?
Well, no, he was the father of the family, but the character of Lois was so dynamic.
Yeah.
And Malcom was at the center of it, And so I only had like 5 lines in the entire first episode, the pilot episode. And I really didn't know where to go with it. And I thought of 2 things. First, I want to make the distinction between being disinterested. I can't play disinterested in the family, but I can be distracted. So I can be distracted and then all of a sudden, oh, what happened? And I try to catch up to what's going on in the family. So that I found, but also I was kind of stuck. And so I thought of this amazing actor playing that amazing character and everything that she was: fearless, strong, loud,
hairy.
All these things that I went, oh, fearful. I wrote down on the side. Fearful,
the opposite,
quiet, sensitive, vulnerable, all the things that she didn't appear to be.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, that's my character. That's how I created the character, was I started thinking of the opposite of who Lois was, and we just complemented each other.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
That's what it came.
And also such a lesson, I think, for people that are younger actors, like, see more than just the 5 lines.
Oh, boy.
Well,
and we were just in the dressing room because I remember those 5 lines. You kind of...
lukewarm, too. I don't remember.
There was something we were at the kitchen table and, something was erupting and one of the kids, or maybe me even, says, Hal, like weigh in on it. And you picked up a plastic pitcher and said, I make a pitcher of iced tea every morning and I come home and it's always empty.
and it's just...
And that was it.
That's his distraction. Yeah, he
Physical comedy,
fixates on the smallest thing, not like the privacy pouch, which is huge, but he's fixated on the smallest things. Yeah.
That was a look at their revival series, Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair. All episodes are now on Hulu. You got to check it out. So is it true, I've heard, you've been trying to do this for like 15 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I love that. You've been after, were you just hounding them? Like, why aren't we doing this?
Well, kind of, because I had questions myself, but I would run into fans all the time and they would ask, well, Lois and Hal were pregnant when the series ended. What did they have, a boy, a girl, what? And
I also love
I don't know.
These were fictional people.
I know,
there
but
was no space.
What did you want him to have?
But they wanted to, you know.
And they wanted to know. And then what happened to Malcolm? Did he become the president? And I went, I don't know. So I kept saying, I don't know, I don't know. And I took all those I don't knows to Linwood Boomer, our creator of the show. And I said, I think there's a material here. People want to know what happened. And at that time, it would be 10 years later after we said goodbye. And he said, absolutely not. I'm retired. I'm done. I couldn't think of another idea. It's over.
Yeah.
I went, okay. Had dinner with Frankie. Frankie, I said, I'd kind of like to do this. And he said, so would I. And he sent out a tweet to his followers, and he got millions of responses going, yeah, do it, do it.
Yeah.
So I took that to Linwood. I said, look, there's a lot of people.
The demand.
Yeah, and this time he said, I don't think so. I don't know that I would have an idea. I really don't see it happening. But I took that as progress because the first time, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
You're
and
wearing
now
him down.
Now it's I don't know. And so I knew there was a fissure in his eye. I cracked a hole and I just kept wedging through there to get him to break. And then 3 years ago he said, I think I have it.
That's so cool. I love that something was so special too, not only for pop culture, like it impacted so many people, but y'all as a team, like everybody was excited.
Kelly,
right?
don't kid yourself. He was so tired of killing people. On all those other shows
Being on
he
meth,
was doing.
all these-
You know?
Yeah, you got a point. You got a point. Yeah.
Killed too many.
Yeah.
I think
Lighten it up.
he wanted to come back to be sweet, doofy Hal.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that how you see him?
With a huge privacy pouch.
So massive. No, so talk about the concept of the revival though, because you're getting to answer all these questions that you've been asked, right?
Yes.
Yes. So what's going on with the revival? What's happening?
Oh, it's going to be our 40th anniversary, and all the kids from wherever they live are going to come, and we're all going to celebrate. And we have all the guest stars who were on the show coming back. But there is a problem. Malcom doesn't want to come back to the family.
He feels as though the reason his life is now successful is that he has maneuvered, created a whole life that he doesn't have to see his parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he comes around.
Yeah.
We kind of give him that. But it's a lot of fun. We have some really crazy surprises, and it was so much fun to see everybody, our little family that we were together for 7 years on the air and a year before that to do the pilot.
Yeah.
And now we get to recreate these roles 20 years after we said goodbye.
Do you step
and we had
into
the
that
same
timing,
writer, the same writers were the same, the director was the same, the producer, so it was the same people who had created it for us in the first place.
Yeah.
Handed it to us.
Yeah.
So as far as wondering whether you walked right back into it, it was a wonderful.
It was surprising
That's cool.
that every character really already knew what to do. Even after 20 years, we just kind of slid in like comfortable slippers.
That's beautiful. But Erik was the one child actor that didn't come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. He was too busy. Was it Harvard?
Yes. I called him and I said, hey, great news. We're doing the reboot of Malcolm in the Middle. And he goes, oh, that's fantastic. And I said, hey, good. You're excited to do it. Oh, no. I've left that world when I was a kid, and it's just not for me.
Yeah.
We talked about our admiration for this kid. I mean, as fictional parents, we did a good job reading.
Fictional parents.
Ended up at Harvard.
We have a deep fictional love for these kids. We really do.
I hear it's not fictional.
He knows who he is.
Yeah.
He knows who he is. He knows what he loves doing now. He's studying Victorian literature, loves Charles Dickens.
Yeah.
And he's happy.
Yeah,
And they offered him buckets of cash to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
That's
happy.
just what he loves, yeah.
Just doing what I love. And in this day and age, I really am in awe. I respect him for being somebody who just knows what it is, what the source of his happiness is.
Yeah,
It's really
get one
interesting,
life, do what you want.
They offered him buckets of cash. They only offered me 1 bucket of cash.
That's because they knew you were hungry. They're like, he wants it. He's been trying to get it for 15 years.
Put on your body.
The nice thing about revisiting a show like Malcolm is you get to go back and look at photos of all the good times you had in the past, which is what we're going to do right now. This is Malcolm in the Middle photo dump. Malcolm in the Middle photo dump. Malcolm in the Middle. I loved the angst.
Oh, I thought it was
all right, Jane and Bryan have brought in some never-before posted photos from their first run on Malcolm 20 years ago. So let's check. I'm excited. Here's the first photo. What?
Oh.
What are you doing?
We're singing. We did an opera episode.
Yeah.
Because we got a new mattress. Lois wanted a great big mattress, and Hal thought it was because she didn't want his affection. And Dewey, Erik, would hear us bickering about this new mattress and was so worried, and he wrote an opera about what was happening.
Yeah.
And what was really happening...
As one does.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what was really happening was Lois had some gas at night when she was sleeping. So she wanted to get a new mattress.
As one does.
As one does, and it wasn't. But the result of that was Dewey writing an entire opera that we then performed.
Yeah.
You look incredible.
Look at us.
Yes. Next photo, here we go.
Oh. This was an episode called Bots and Bees.
No.
The boys, the Krell boys, the smart boys that Malcolm was in this class, they were trying to figure out how to build a robot. You know those robot shows that they would fight each other?
Yeah.
And Hal got very interested in it when the boys lost interest. So he completed the project to have a cavity full of bees, like a hive in there, and the bees would come out. And Malcolm says to me, but it's attacking another robot. And I go, no, it's attacking whoever's operating the robot. You know, so I get maniacal, and the bees actually attack me. So there I am wearing like 60,000 honeybees.
How much did they weigh?
Oh, God, I don't know. But 25 pounds or something like that.
Wait, none of them were like real, right? That was
they're all
they're all real.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. And the bee wrangler.
Oh my God, you didn't freak out?
No, you don't want to do that.
I would.
That would not be well.
Did they go and, I don't know.
You see why? You see they're not on my face? Well, everywhere they're not on my face is where a makeup person put an insect repellent, right? The whole thing, put it all on my face wherever we wanted the bees not to go. And so you can see them coming right up to that point and stopping. But the bees were about 3.5 or so inches thick on me.
And I remember you saying that it was the humming.
The humming and the movement.
The energy from the frequency.
Do you remember those massage chairs like at Brookstone or whatever? And,
Yeah.
It felt like that. Like it, and they're constantly moving, and it was warm. And it was actually very zen-like. I was standing there going,
We are just so different.
Now the guy said, okay, now listen, if you get stung, let me know, and I can flick out the stinger right away, so that the amount of venom that gets into you is not so bad.
This is a horrible conversation. The amount?
So two things I learned. First, the biggest thing about getting stung by a bee is not the pain. It is the surprise. So you're wearing bees. It shouldn't be much of a surprise if you get stung. So all of a sudden I went, because I had to turn around in the scene, and I went, oh yeah, I think I got stung. It was really just that. It was just felt like a little prick. And I went, well, yeah, I think I got stung. And the bee guy goes, where? Ready to go to flick it out. And I go, in my scrotum?
No, they got down there? They got in?
Yeah.
No.
And he said to me,
no.
You're on your own. I'm not going there. Yeah.
No.
So I got, well, see, because...
I am sweating from just looking at that picture.
Oh, yeah. So I had to put, like, cotton in my ears so they wouldn't go into my brain.
And what the hell?
And then, no, I didn't have to worry about the nose because they put the insect repellent. No. But I had to tape down my shirt so they wouldn't crawl
You should have taped down your
inside.
underwear better.
I did. Well, you could see from that picture that they stop about there because how they wanted to get on me was he had a vial of their queen's pheromones, and he would take a eyedropper and would drop all this pheromones all over my body and my head and everything, and then he'd scoop the bees out of the hive and lay them on me, and they would just all, you know.
That's just a hard no.
Yeah.
And you obviously knew you weren't allergic. There wasn't like a trial by error.
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
because I know a lot of people that are allergic to bees.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Would
I'm
not
like,
be a good thing.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was a stupid thing to say, but I'm so nervous right now, and I know it's already happened, but this is the dumbest thing. I would never do that. I would never do that. There's not enough money in all the land.
And I was just the opposite. Anytime I had to get wet, you know, there was one episode where I was yelling at the property line about a neighbor, and she turns the sprinklers on me.
Yeah.
And I was like, could I have that stunt woman come in?
No.
I don't want to get wet.
No, ma'am, you can't complain about water? I was like, what? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I never saw
Jane's
that.
philosophy was, if you can't do a scene sitting down, then why not lying down? Why do we have to stand?
I think we can cover it from here. Okay, here's the last photo. The bee one is still gonna haunt my nightmares. Well, just a grabbing of the butt. I like it.
Well, Hal,
What was that one?
you built a tiki lounge for me in the
hut,
garage.
Oh, right.
I think Lois was working a lot and was frazzled or something, and his enduring love for his wife. We had the most wonderful marriage on that show.
I'm telling you.
But that was the
great.
tiki lounge he built for Lois.
Yeah.
I was hoping this wasn't a moment you were shooting. Y'all are just like comfortable, you know?
Kind of. That was just waiting to start the scene.
You're like just chilling out. It's like, oh my God, that was photo dump. I'm still sweating. You were a warrior for that bee thing, man.
Oh, well, it was-
I can't even. That was photo dump, the kind of high-class programming you've come to expect here on the Kelly Clarkson Show. Once more, y'all give it up for Jane Kaczmarek and Bryan Cranston. Woo! Check out Malcom in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair, all episodes.